So we started Vesta, and the first year was the worst year of my fucking life. It just was. It was terrible. I think I made $8,000 my first year. It was like, coming from like making $80,000 after being like this crazy successful, rookie kid that was just like slaying and never making this type of money to just like living off credit cards. And at a certain point, I was enjoying my bottle service days. I never stopped. It was actually one of my networking ways of getting clients. At least that's what I was telling myself. And learning, you got to realize, if you're great at selling, it doesn't necessarily mean you're great at running a business. I still don't know if I'm great at running a business. It's a constant struggle for me. But if you're great at selling and you're novice and young, it's a disaster waiting to happen. There was 3 times specifically I remember that if something didn't break, like within a 24-hour period, Vesta was gone. It was done. It was going to vanish. So the first 3 years was some of the most challenging times of my entire life. Yeah, I was selling, but I was also trying to run a company. It doesn't matter if you're in real estate or anything. Running and starting a business, like you got to figure out how to how are you going to order toilet paper for your office, right? Like you don't think about that. I'm like trying to sell real estate, and then I'm running around being like, God damn, this sink has dishes in it. It's like it's not the same. So it was really challenging. What's crazy is I actually have a 70% split with Vesta after all things are said and done. Think about that. I have a 70% split with Vesta when all things are said and done. Because you don't run a company and you don't run a team to truly profit off of it. You don't do that. A lot of people do that. So I pay myself a flat salary when we have it now, right? But we're still in a sales organization. If Brad and I didn't sell, right, we wouldn't be in business, right? That's just the way that it is. Now, as we get older and we grow and we mature as business owners, right, you realize that the sexiness of running a team and all of that stuff is you have to have a passion for wanting to get people to be the best version of themselves. The idea for us is we want to be $1 billion team, right? That's just the way that it is. Right? It's a great environment and everybody feels good when they come in. I want it to be a plug-in moment of positivity when somebody comes into our office. There's music playing, there's good vibes. It's all about the positivity. I'm a better broker because of my agents, and I want the same reciprocity on the other end. Now, our idea is to grow to a certain level of transactions so that we can start an auxiliary business of, let's call it title and mortgage. It's a great environment and everybody feels good when they come in. I want it to be a plug-in moment of positivity when somebody comes into our office. There's music playing, there's good vibes. It's all about the positivity. I'm a better broker because of my agents, and I want the same reciprocity on the other end. Now, our idea is to grow to a certain level of transactions so that we can start an auxiliary business of, let's call it title and mortgage. So all I'm saying is that as a business owner, what you realize when you initially started to think that you're gonna make all of this money if you get a team or whatever, that's not the case because your expenses go up, right? And it's on you to pay those or you don't have a job anymore, right? You're gonna have to buck up and get out of there. But if you have a bigger vision of a goal of greater success, that's just bigger than what you're doing at this exact moment, then that's your aha moment and it turns you into a better business owner. So agents, I interview agents all the time. My favorite agents are 2 types of agents that I interview. Rental brokers coming from the rental background going into sales, and brokers that have worked at bigger box firms for at least a year or 2. And here's why. First, rental brokers, we can kind of get into, why don't we just kind of get into the bigger box brokerages, kind of the most immediate. People that are at bigger box brokerages, they usually go there because of the name recognition, right? It's a big name, it's sexy, they got these really big office spaces, a lot of agents work for them. So immediately you think that's where people go to be successful. Time and time and time again, brokers that come to me from these big brokerages say, I feel like I'm on an island. There's a lot of people around me, but I can't talk to anybody. Everybody is on their own. And I say, well, I mean, isn't there training? They boast all of these trainings, online trainings. And they're like, yeah, but what does that do? It doesn't do anything, right? I mean, yeah, you can go to the Chicago Association of Realtors and get the same training, right? You can go online, you can go to YouTube, you can do all of that stuff. But when it comes to real hands-on approach, where somebody's gonna hold your hand and show you how to be successful, that just doesn't exist. Because most of these managing brokers at this firm are either failed brokers that couldn't sell or just management that don't know what they're doing. So I always tell people, why would you want to work for somebody that doesn't or has not achieved the level of success that you're trying to emulate? How can somebody coach you? My first boss, right? That's why I call him a boss. He never sold anything. You know how he wanted me to get greater at something? He wanted me to read a fucking book. But here I am, right? Look at me now. When I talk to brokers that come through my door, I specifically tell them there's a good chance I'm not going to hire you, because my model doesn't work for everybody, and very few people actually fit properly on the other end into where I want to hire them. It's not because I'm a cockbag. It's not because I'm mean or I don't want anybody to come into my office. And I want people. I'm craving for great people. But hard work ethic and attitude, great attitude, those are the two things I hire on. It already knocks out 90% of people. The remaining 10% of people, they might not want to be in a team environment, right? They might not like, we do big volumes of leads, right? So like your phone is constantly ringing. People don't like that sometimes. We coach people. Every single week, we have a one-on-one coaching session with everybody in our office. Our commission splits aren't the best in the industry, by far. That's not what this is about. But if somebody understands where they want to go, they're feeling like they're in an environment that is not helping them succeed to the levels they want to get to, we might be a really good fit. But I urge people, go and talk to as many people as possible, because I need you to come here knowing that this is your home. And I'm not going to tell you that it is. I need you to tell me that it is. And then we can decide if it's a good decision to work for me.